Greg, you touched on it. There's a lot of options for Chelsea. I'll go through some of them now. Willian could be back. He could go somewhere else. You got Mason Mount, Hudson-Odoi. Pedro's probably out the door. Ziyech is coming in from Ajax. They've already done that deal. You mentioned Jadon Sancho. It looks like they're linked to Jadon Sancho every other day of the week.
Don't see it. Don't see it.
Okay,
I don't see
fine.
it.
Even if it doesn't happen, you've acknowledged they want to spend money. They're going to bring in other players. How worried would you be? How worried would you be about Pulisic getting starting time? That list, is he over Hudson-Odoi? Is he over Mount? Is he over Willian if he comes back?
Well, if you put a sock over your head for a minute, I'll answer that question. Listen, you haven't got one. It's probably a bit smelly anyway, so don't bother. I've seen your socks, multicoloured, horrible. Oh my God. You wear those short trousers, you can't help but see your socks. It's very off-putting when you try to do a live TV programme. I'm going to tell you that. But I'm trying to explain to you, when you're rambling on, they're probably going to go out and try and spend the majority of their budget on a striker, on an out-and-out front man. They're unlikely to go for another wide stroke playmaker because they've got a bunch of them, including Pulisic. So that's less of a concern. There are other areas in the team they might look to strengthen. Midfield, striker, maybe another centre-half. They've got enough playmakers, in my opinion. He's got a job in his hand like everybody else. It's like talking about Jadon Sancho, right? It's the same thing. If he leaves Dortmund, where he's getting game time and he's doing particularly well, say he goes to Liverpool, he's going to have the same problems. He's going to have to fight for his place in the team. Maybe if he goes to Man United, it'll be a little bit easier. Christian Pulisic is facing it in London. He faced the same thing at Dortmund before he left because he had Sancho and Brun Larsen, who'd ousted him from the team. It's not new for Christian Pulisic to be fighting for his place. That doesn't mean you're a bad player overnight. Yes, it's a concern when you're not playing, but I do think he showed enough, and I repeat myself for you, clothiers, that he showed enough to Frank Lampard and the period that he was there that he's going to be a big part of the Chelsea plans going forward. Are you happy with that answer?
Herc, you agree?
Yes, I agree that he's going to have to fight for his place. But I will say this, and this is Chelsea's history, and they've proven it over and over and over again. They don't care how much they spend on you and how big you are, whether it's Lukaku, whether it's Kevin De Bruyne, whether it's Mohamed Salah. You don't have your place on the team guaranteed. And if you can't swim and you sink, you are out. It doesn't matter how much they spend. So, yes, he does have to worry. But Craig's just told you this. There's no player on this earth, well, maybe there's only a few, select few, Messi or Cristiano, who have the benefit of the doubt going forward anymore, and especially in a team like Chelsea.
But one thing I would say, Herc, is the landscape at Chelsea has slightly changed because the appetite for Abramovich, the owner, to spend the money that he was once spending a few years ago when he would go out and say, right, okay, we're 10 points behind the league leaders at the end of the season. Go out and get me 6 players, and I don't care what it costs. That landscape, certainly in the last couple of years at Chelsea, has changed. So they're spending their money a little smarter, a little tighter, and they're not throwing it about like confetti like they once were. And I think from that perspective, it's less of a concern from Pulisic and one or two other players that might be fighting for the place, that Abramovich is just going to go out and say, here's 500 million, go and get me half a team. That's the owner from 10 years ago. That's not the owner from 2020.
I'm going to read you this list again because it's not the guys that are coming in. It's the guys that are already there. Willian, Mount, Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech. Herc, from a U.S. perspective, which is really a Christian Pulisic development perspective, is Chelsea the right place for him to be right now?
I don't think you have a choice when it comes to that transfer fee. And if you're a U.S. men's national team fan, I think you absolutely want your players plying their trade in the best places possible. Now, listen.
You want them playing, right? You want them playing, starting.
Of course, but I don't want to hand it to him. This is Christian Pulisic's to lose because, as Craig says, he's proven it this season. So he has a benefit of the doubt that he's going to be first in line with some of these guys coming in. But he's got to prove it day in and day out. Nothing's going to be handed to him. And we've seen Frank Lampard and the way he rotates these players and the way he's already treated Christian Pulisic. You can't take anything for granted if you're Christian Pulisic.
21 years old, Craig. Shouldn't he be playing at this point?
Well, he needs to get enough.
Isn't that the focus? Isn't that the priority?
Isn't he playing?
Yeah, but
I mean, wasn't he playing when healthy?
The
Nah,
priority.
starting. This is the great American hope. He should be starting if that's what you want him to advance. Don't you need him to be starting, or
He's
should he
one
be
of the
riding on the
statistical
bench?
leaders in that team. I don't think
Okay.
anybody should feel
Is he
comfortable.
going to play over Ziyech? Is he going to play over Mount? Does Lampard favor him over Mount? Have you seen any evidence of that?
You'd have to ask Lampard.
Yeah.
The priority is progression. If a World Cup winner in Olivier Giroud is not guaranteed his place and we're struggling for game time, it can happen. Now, you might say, well, you know, a lot of people are not big Giroud fans, but Giroud's record for France is almost a goal every 2 games, including, as I say, a World Cup winning medal. Look, everyone in the world wants the players to be playing week in, week out, and when they're not, it's the worst thing in the world. When they're playing and they're playing well, it's the best thing in the world. There's a happy medium. Gone are the days of you playing Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, and bar you had a bad game or an injury, you were going to play. Unfortunately, whether we like it or not, it's a rotational game now, and that's the way managers see it. That's the way squads are built, and players just have to accept that. Supporters just have to accept that, and presenters with very short attitude, with very short nerves,
very short height as well,
and anger. They've got to, and height and everything, and weight and looks. I must admit, looks. He's struggling on the looks front as well.
Wow. I mean, now we just know you're lying.
He hasn't seen the sun in 3 weeks.
Okay, well, I think we'll leave our discussion on Christian Pulisic and my lack of a tan there for the day. Craig Burley, Herculez Gomez, thank you very much.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.